Okay. Is that me? Okay. So I was just watching this thing about Sebastian Junger, and I was reminded of Paul Auster died a few weeks ago, so we have the Cup's 1998 issue. This was taken at Paul Auster's house in Brooklyn. He lived on Second Street, close to Seventh Avenue, Park Slope. Where I lived there in '91, and then I used to visit there. And the Syracuse vet, and I was friends with her at that time, so we go, okay, well, she'd be a good idea. But let's see some of these other people that are in here. Okay, so Genesis Peorage is also in this issue. He died a few years ago. David Bowman's died. There's an interview with him. The Moon Cookbook. So let's see who's going on here. Dan Barden. I know he's done a couple books. I think he's a teacher. Jennifer Belle. I think she's still around. I don't know. Dan Barden was somebody I saw quite a bit. So let's see. We got some pictures here. There's Dan Barden, Jennifer Belle, Bruce Benderson. Bruce Benderson just came out with a book. I want to check out. But he did the book User. When I moved to New York, Bruce Benderson was a pretty good friend. I used to hang with him a little bit. Jennifer Belle, I didn't know. Barden, he was part of the scene, like where there was a whole scene where people were reading at KGB and the different places. There was parties at Open City and the Paris Review and different readings, and Don Barton's John Wayne book came out around then. I think I might have read one other book by him. Let's see who else is in here. Okay, so Robert Bingham. Okay, he died soon after this, maybe like 2 years after we did this, and he was one of the editors of Open City. Michael Brodsky. He was kind of a happening author in the '90s. I'm not sure what happened to him. He probably, I don't know. He might be working. Susan Date just come out with some great books since then. Siri Husvet. I've read. She only had like about 2 or 3 books out at that time. And Sebastian Junger, I just found out that he almost died recently. So here's like some more pictures. Robert Bingham, Michael Brodsky, Susan Date, Sebastian Junger. So these were just kind of authors that were kind of in the scene in New York. That all. Some of them didn't live in New York, but Todd Clank was a friend of Bruce Benderson. So I don't know what happened to him. He might have died already. Eurydice was kind of one of my friends. We used to go to readings. Eric Darden was another guy I liked a lot. He did some great books back then. I'm not sure what happened to him. Ricky Ducrenay has written books all the time. Eurydice moved to Miami. Sebastian Junger. The Perfect Storm was just one of those books that I was kind of familiar with. Bertie Marshall was another friend that I hung around with. And Blake Nelson, Arthur Nersessian were all people I hung around. House Zerowitz. These are all, Catherine Texier, definitely a friend. Nadia Tessic, she lived in the Upper East Side. Most of these people lived in the East Village or Brooklyn, or Nadia Tessic was like the only one that lived kind of in the Upper West Side, different neighborhood. Lynn Tillman, and Jack Womack has died too. I think he's in here too. I forgot but he did a lot of great books. I think he was on Grove, and the guys. But House Zerowitz, I haven't talked to him in a long time. He was I used to see him a lot in the '90s. Blake Nelson and Arthur Nersessian, I interviewed them both recently. Who else? Eurydice, we were going to do an interview, but we never did. Yeah, I like to interview Susan Date. Sebastian Junger was just like a guy. The Perfect Storm was out. It was before it became a movie and kind of a national sensation, but he was kind of around. So, I don't know. I'm kind of interested in what some of these authors are doing, so I'm going to look it up and stuff. But I mean, it was kind of random. I mean, if we would have did it like a year earlier, there's a possibility we could have done a San Francisco version a couple years earlier. It would have been, Kathy Acker, Don Baema, Lydia Lancher, just Neely Tchaikovsky, people, other luminaries that were kind of happening at that time. So yeah, that's it. Maybe we'll do some new interviews with some of these living people, and that was kind of a snapshot of the scene, that kind of existed with the different reading series, the Open City, different Paris Review, KGB. There was other places. I don't know all the names, but I remember seeing like Jonathan Lethem and Harry Matthews at some place like in Soho. Somebody could probably remember that place. I think I was on Wooster Street somewhere. They used to have a lot of readings there in the 90s. And then stuff uptown or libraries, or I went to a lot of things at the NYU library too. Okay, well, that's it. Hope to do some more interviews, more authors this year. Okay, out.